Well, for more than 1,500 days, Julian Assange has been waiting behind bars in London under threat of extradition to the US, where he faces espionage charges for leaking classified military documents. Julian Assange's wife has addressed the National Press Club, campaigning for the convicted WikiLeaks founder to be freed. Stella Assange joins me now live. Stella, we really appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much. We know that he's been held at Belmarsh Prison. Can you describe the conditions there?
Yes, well, actually, Julian is not convicted. He's an administrative prisoner for over 4 years while the US process goes through the UK courts. And this is punishment by process. Julian is in a 3x2 meter single cell. He's in prison, he's in his cell for over 22 hours a day, and he only gets to see his family once or twice a week for little more than 1 hour at a time.
And how is he coping with those conditions? How is his health?
Well, his health is deteriorating by the minute. He's stuck in a tiny concrete room with no end in sight. The United States wants to put him on trial for publishing information, not for leaking it, but for actually receiving information and publishing it. And the potential sentence is 175 years. So if Julian ever sets foot in the United States, there is a real risk that he will die in prison sooner or later.
Yesterday, you addressed the National Press Club and you said that your husband's life is now in the hands of the Australian government. How confident are you that the Australian government will indeed intervene here?
Well, I'm hugely encouraged that the Australian government has decided to state its position explicitly, that enough is enough, that nothing is served by Julian remaining in prison. And at the same time, the United States, for the United States, this is not a popular case. This is, in fact, an extremely controversial case. The Biden administration is continuing what is, in fact, the Trump legacy. And by taking this case, it is acting in contravention to its new media policy. So, in fact, it would be very easy for the United States to drop it because it conflicts with its new media policy.
Joe Biden, of course, was meant to visit Australia this week but cancelled last minute. Have your hopes been diminished by the fact that he isn't coming to Australia as planned?
Not at all. I came to address the press club and to attend a rally on Wednesday in Sydney at 10 a.m. in Hyde Park, and to have the opportunity to address the Australian people who have been incredible in mounting a worldwide campaign to free my husband. And so this visit is my visit here to show my appreciation and to be able to speak to people directly.
Has Julian Assange personally tried to reach out to the Australian government and the Prime Minister to state his case?
Well, Julian's legal team is in contact with the Australian government, and I would say that we have a constructive engagement and that we're encouraging a constructive engagement with the United States government. And the Australian government plays the crucial role in actually advancing a constructive engagement. And the United States is, I say that we're now reaching an endgame because the US is going into the electoral season, and there could be a Trump administration in a year's time. So Julian cannot ever set foot in the United States. It was under the previous Trump administration that there were plans concocted by the CIA to kidnap and even assassinate him, and it is unimaginable that he could ever be extradited to the United States. So there has to be a solution, and that is urgent. It has to come now.
Just finally, how hard has it been for you personally? Of course, you married Julian Assange in prison. You've got children together. As a mother and as a wife, under quite difficult circumstances, how are you coping?
Well, this is obviously a challenging situation. As effectively a single parent, it's very difficult, and that situation is difficult for any single parent to juggle the different responsibilities. But for me, the greatest risk is that our children grow up without their father, and that's why I don't need a greater motivation to get out there and campaign for Julian's release.
Stella Assange, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.